The Seattle Seahawks just turned the NFC into a panic room, and the scary part is how calm they looked doing it. They walked into San Francisco and left with a 13-3 win. Then the record flashed like a warning. 14-3, first seed, full control. That is not a cute upset. That is the kind of night that makes every other locker room go quiet for a second. Because this Seattle version is not begging for magic, they are forcing the game to shrink. Sam Darnold is not chasing wild throws. He is taking what is there, hitting the tight window, moving the chains, and letting the clock bleed out like a slow punishment. Then Kenneth Walker cuts into daylight, and Zach Charbonnet runs like he is daring defenders to meet him. And suddenly, you feel the air leave the other sideline. On the other side, they made Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey look stuck, like every clean answer got erased right after the snap. But here's the twist. This did not pop up out of nowhere. Seattle chose to rip out the old comfort, hand the keys to Mike Macdonald, and build a team that can win ugly and still feel in control, even on the road, even with everything on the line. So what exactly happened in San Francisco that made it look so one-sided? And why did the 49ers feel uncomfortable in their own stadium? But before we jump into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Seahawks and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 500 likes on this video. San Francisco did not get beat with one big moment. They got worn down by a game that kept taking choices away. Every drive felt like it started with Seattle stealing something small, a yard, a second, a clean read, a clean lane. The stadium kept waiting for the usual swing, the quick burst, the one play that flips the mood. It never came. Seattle kept the pressure steady, kept the pace uncomfortable, and kept the Niners living in a kind of football they do not love. The offense played it like a slow takeover. No rush to be flashy, no need to chase a highlight, just steady work that makes defenders hate the next snap. Jackson Smith-Njigba keeps slipping into space at the worst time for a defense. Then Cooper Kupp shows up like a problem you cannot get rid of, always available, always dragging the chains forward one more step. And while that is happening, Seattle is making the Niners defend the whole field, defend the clock, defend their own patience, until frustration starts showing up in the little things. Late reactions, sloppy leverage, hands on hips. Now that win has done something bigger than move standings. It has changed the pressure inside Seattle's locker room. Because once you prove you can walk into that building and control it, people stop asking if you belong and start asking if you can finish. And that is where this story gets dangerous for one man, because the spotlight is about to tighten on Sam Darnold, and every throw from here on out is going to sound louder. Then the last. This is the part nobody wants to say out loud. The Seahawks can win games and still lose the story if Sam Darnold slips in the biggest moments. People already have a version of him saved in their head, and it is not fair, but it is real. One January mistake and they drag out old memories like they never left. One calm win and the whole league has to admit they were lazy about his name. Look at what he had to survive before he ever got a clean stage. With the New York Jets, Sam Darnold was dropped into noise with a team still trying to find itself. New voices, broken rhythm, pressure coming fast, and no real time to grow without being judged every week. In Carolina, it teased hope. Then the ground moved again, injuries, resets, and the same cycle of starting over. Then he made the choice most people would not make. He went to San Francisco and accepted the quiet role, watching, learning, seeing how a top system stays calm when the heat rises. Minnesota gave him a taste of what he looks like with real help, throwing to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. But when Christian Darrisaw went down and the hits kept stacking, the ending got pinned on him like a stamp. Seattle is different because the support is not a promise, it is already there. Sam Darnold does not need to carry every snap like a rescue mission. He needs to play clean and let the team crush people around him. But that brings a new kind of pressure, because now nobody will accept excuses if it falls apart. And once you understand that, you start seeing why Seattle made the bold move that set all of this in motion. They did not just bring in a quarterback. They walked away from Pete Carroll and bet their future on a new voice. Seattle did not scare the league just with wins. They scared the league with one cold decision. They looked at Pete Carroll, a coach tied to the best era this city has ever lived, and still said, "We are not staying here." That is not normal in the NFL. Most teams cling to what feels safe until the drop happens. Seattle jumped before the fall, and that tells you they saw a threat coming that fans do not see on Sunday. What they saw was the game changing right in front of them. Motion getting faster, spacing getting wider, and offenses finding easy answers if your defense is even a little late. Seattle wanted a defense that can change the picture after the snap, not a defense that hopes the other team makes a mistake. That is why they handed the keys to Mike Macdonald, a young defensive mind who built his name on detail, disguise, and making quarterbacks feel like every read has a trap waiting behind it. The first season of that change was not clean. It was a reset. New language, new rules, new demands, and moments where it looked messy because learning is messy. Then it started to click. Tackling got sharper, calls got faster, and the unit began moving like one connected thing instead of 11 guys surviving. And now that the standard is set, the next question is simple and scary. Where does that power really live on the field? Because it starts up front with the bodies that turn every snap into a fight. The Seattle Seahawks start breaking teams before the ball even gets to the air, because their front turns every snap into a fight you cannot escape. Leonard Williams does not just line up and rush. He shifts, he leans, he forces a guard to guess, then punishes the guess. Byron Murphy brings that same stress, sliding into gaps that look closed until they are suddenly wide open. Then Jaron Reed sits in the middle like dead weight that still moves, eating space and making the pocket feel smaller with each step. The ugly part for offenses is the way the hits keep coming from different bodies and different angles. DeMarcus Lawrence sets the edge like a locked door, so runs get pushed back inside into traffic. Then the rotation flips the mood. Derek Hall flashes fresh speed. Boy Mayfield fires off the line like he is late to something, and Uchenna Nwosu makes tackles panic because the clock inside their head speeds up. When pressure shows up like that, even a normal throw starts to feel like a risk. And that is when weird plays happen. A hand in the lane, a ball that floats, and suddenly someone like Drake Thomas is the one ending a drive. And the quiet key is Ernest Jones, because he is the cleanup that keeps hope from leaking out. When a run slips, he is there. When a short pass lands, he closes fast, so a small gain stays small. After a few series, an offense realizes it cannot win the easy way, and that is when it gets pushed into longer throws and slower reads, right into the part Seattle really wants you to reach. The moment the ball goes outside and the secondary starts changing what the quarterback thinks he sees. The scary part starts when the throw leaves the hand, because Seattle's coverage does not feel like normal coverage. It feels like the field gets smaller mid-play. Devin Witherspoon is the heartbeat of that chaos. He lines up outside, then he is inside, then he is crashing down like he knew the call before it was even made. Offenses want to point him out and pick on him, but the more they chase him, the more they lose timing, and timing is what keeps drives alive. Then you get to the deep shots, the ones teams use when they feel stuck, and that is where Rick Woolen changes the mood. Those easy go routes stop feeling easy because his speed stays glued to the receiver, and his reach shows up right when the ball arrives. And Nick Emenwari makes it worse because he is not stuck doing one job. One snap he is closing on the flat, next snap he is carrying a seam, next snap he is hitting downhill like a bigger body than you expect. Behind all that, Julian Love brings the calm that keeps the backline clean, always in the right spot, always ready when the ball takes a weird bounce. What makes this group dangerous is not just stars, it is how many answers they can show without playing scared. When Kobe Bryant is right, the slot becomes another place quarterbacks stop trusting, because the quick throw can turn into a fight for the ball. So now you have a defense that can squeeze routes, challenge deep, and still rally to the catch, which means the other side does not get extra chances. And that is why the next part matters, because Seattle's offense is now trying to win the same way: slow control, clean decisions, and a plan that keeps Sam Darnold calm while the game gets tighter. Seattle did not change their offense to look pretty. They changed it to take control from the first snap. In San Francisco, the plan was clear. Make the game heavy, make every drive feel like work, and make the other defense stay on the field until it starts begging for air. The shocking part is the numbers tell the story without any drama. 39 runs and around 180 rushing yards. Not as a random hot night, but as a message. This is Seattle saying we are not giving you extra chances. We are going to take time, take space, and take your confidence with it. Last season showed why the switch had to happen. Under Ryan Grubb, Geno Smith was asked to throw like the answer to everything. 35 to 40 passes became normal, and the offense lived on stress. That is a hard way to survive when protection cracks, because the whole game starts to feel like a chase. Now Clint Kubiak has them playing a different kind of football. More snaps under center, tighter looks, motion that forces defenders to hesitate, and play action that actually means something because the run is real. The point is simple. Seattle is trying to stay out of panic downs, and if they do that, they control the entire night. And here is what nobody is talking about. This style makes the playoffs feel unfair for the team that travels. When Seattle can run the clock and still stay dangerous, opponents start pressing, and that is when mistakes show up without warning. But this only works if the pieces around Sam Darnold hold up when the pressure gets loud. The targets on the outside, the tight window helpers, and the protection in front of him. So now the real question becomes, who exactly is making this offense steady? And where is the one spot that could still break the whole plan? Seattle did not just find a hot streak, they built a cast that makes pressure feel smaller. Jackson Smith-Njigba is the young centerpiece who keeps showing up when the field gets tight. Cooper Kupp is the steady veteran who turns messy downs into clean ones. Rashid Shaheed is the speed threat that forces safeties to back up even when the run is coming. Then you see the extra layers, early flashes from the rookie Torrey Horton, and the quiet message behind moves like replacing Marquez Valdez-Scantling. This front office is picking fit over noise. It gets even more serious when you look at the protection, because this whole plan lives or dies in the first 2 seconds of a snap. Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas give Seattle real edges, not hope, real edges. Jalen Sundell brings order in the middle, and the rookie Gray Zabel settling in at guard is the kind of growth that changes how bold a play caller can be. But the tension is still there, because one soft spot at right guard is all a contender needs, and January teams do not miss weak links, they hunt them. Now comes the part that decides if this is a real Super Bowl run or just a loud regular season peak. The Los Angeles Rams with Matthew Stafford can stress any coverage if you give him time. The Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts can turn one mistake into a long drive that breaks your legs. The rising Chicago Bears will test discipline, and the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love will test your nerve with explosive throws. Even the San Francisco 49ers with Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey are not going to forget how that last game felt. And the next time Seattle steps into that spotlight, we will find out if this roster is built to take the first punch and still stay calm.